access to solid waste. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Did anyone have any questions? I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Roll call in.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Vicki?
Yes. We'll just have this journal entry. Do you have any comments? Or?
The only thing that I have is we put together a proposal for Brimfield Township. It's a 2-year proposal in line with what we've been proposing throughout the rest of the county. It's 2-year, and I'm going to go ahead and schedule the meeting, and I'm hopefully going to get that done rather quickly so we can get moving on this. So hopefully it's a good meeting. I'll keep the board updated on what's going on, and yeah, well, you're already on the email chain.
Okay.
So, I just wanted to let the board know what we're proposing. It is a mandatory service. There is no subscription in this. So this copy is for your review. It has been reviewed by the prosecutor's office as keeping with protocol.
So just to recap, we're proposing for the first year that it's $3 per month for bi-weekly.
Right.
And then the second year, we're proposing it will be $375 bi-weekly.
Correct.
It's a 2-year contract.
2-year contract. Yep.
And that was the original proposal.
That was, well, this thing has kind of taken many different directions. We met earlier in the year, Gene, myself, and trustee Koya, and then things kind of fell apart, and then they sent out their RFP, and we proposed in our RFP two main proposals, one for weekly, which was at $5.50, and the other one was for every other week service at $3.75. So we really haven't ventured from that. We've run the numbers, and this is where we need to be for either level of service. And so, the goal here is not to, run negative on the routes.
Okay.
So that's it.
Bill, can I ask how this rate compares to other biweekly?
It's right what we're trying to gear everybody towards, Kathleen, because I'm trying to get this out of it so it's pretty much consistent, so that way when one entity sees the rate, a potential rate increase or decrease, it's the same across the board. The difficult part is getting everybody in line, because we've got some that are above, some that are a little bit below, so we're just gonna try to adjust to get them right all in line with each other.
And the contract periods are different.
Yeah, and that's something that has been that way before my tenure as the district, and it really hasn't become an issue until really now, because that's been part of the problem before. When we had $1 million in revenue from the sale of recyclables, it didn't matter because that was always added back into our rates, because we figured this community would generate this much, which would then be equated to this amount of revenue. Now that it's negative, it's taken on a whole different type of calculation for what the routes are actually costing us.
But the rates aren't going to be adjusted until the contracts are up, is that correct?
Well, there are some contracts that there is no rate adjustment in it, but generally most of our contracts have, it's Article 9.2, where it does allow for an annual review of the rates. And that's something else too that we're working with the prosecutor's office to make these as standard as possible. Yes, it's just, we need to just get to uniform across the county. I did talk to Chris, and we would probably go away from these contracts more to MOUs. And I think that's just the way to go. So we're having a lot of conversations, between the prosecutor's office and working with Todd about how we want this all to come together.
And Bill, from what the conversations that I've heard, the goal is, we want uniformity, consistency, but also some of those folks, they're going to pay less, right?
Right, yeah. The whole goal here is just to, number one, make the rates fair for whether you have weekly, every other week service, or drop-off service. And it's pretty much, if we do incur a cost, it's minimal compared to what it would be if we continue right now, because we're always playing catch-up. What happens today, then we've got to make up for in 2 years. This way we can react a little bit quicker and, you know, and yeah, in some cases, once you form these consortiums, some communities may see a drop in their weekly rate, or their monthly rate, I should say.
So really, this whole revamping is just gonna make it more equitable across the board.
Right.
Although the communities can still opt out, and if they want a contract with a
That's right.
service provider, they just have that in our plan.
Right, yeah, our prices will be out there, and, you know, it'll simplify everything much
I think
easier.
that's the important part is I think, you know, our rates are all over, our contracts are all over,
Mhm.
and I think, like I said, my impression is we're trying to make it equitable across the board for everyone
Right.
who participates, no matter where. And then, like I said, the important thing is though, if a community does want to opt out
Sure.
and get their own service provider,
Mhm.
they can, they
That's
just,
right.
we include it in our plan.
Right, yeah, yep, that's it.
Bill, I appreciate too, I know a lot of the renewals have been pretty straightforward, but I think having this in advance with time to read it before
Yeah,
voting is very helpful, so
Yeah.
I appreciate
that-
that. And I
yeah.
think if you could standardize that as
Yeah.
well, we would be more in the loop and
Yeah.
able to communicate with.
yeah, I'm
communities
trying to
there.
play catch-up on what your desires are, because there was a while when we had the administrative team that I was not coming up here, and
Sure.
believe me, just let me know and I'll make it happen. I'm more than happy to do that.
I think like this is good,
Yeah.
giving us
Yeah,
kind of as you're going out with your proposal.
Right.
We're looped
Yeah,
in.
yeah, I always want to, I feel it's a better mode of operation for everybody involved, that if I just bring it to you, even if it's this week, and say, hey, I'll be back next week, because I operate from the standpoint, the more eyes on something, the better the finished product is, because you may see it different than Sabrina or Vicky, but if it makes the finished product that much better and stronger, that's what it's all about.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So you need us to pass a journal
No.
entry today for the hiring of Daniel Reagan?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, so I'll make a motion for the full-time hire of Daniel Reagan as a CDL truck driver, third shift, replacing the position previously held by Peter Teeple. Anticipated start date is December 2nd, 2019. And the Board of Commissioners agreed that this hire is contingent upon the applicant passing the required pre-employment testing.
Second.
Roll call in.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Vicki?
Yes.
all right, thank you, Commissioners. And
Okay.
everyone have a great Thanksgiving.
Thanks,
Okay,
Bill.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call in.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Vicki?
Yes. You're up, Janet.
Good morning.
Hey.
I just have one item on my agenda. And this is actually just really finalize the transition plan for the Water Resources Deputy Director. The last part of her plan will have her become the interim director. And then during that phase, I would like to recommend, and I want to get the feelings that the board will have, is that when she becomes interim director, that she has a probationary period. In which at that time she'd also be evaluated. So I want to get the board's opinion on, do you agree that she should have a probationary period when she becomes interim? And then how long should that period be? Should it be at 120 days, or do you want it shorter, longer?
Is that what do we normally?
Yeah.
It's normally based on the policy manual, classified employees have a 120-day probationary period. But as interim, she'll be unclassified. So it could be the same, 120, or it could be shorter, longer, however you think it should be.
Well, what is your recommendation?
I would stick with 120 days, quite honestly, just to make it consistent,
Yeah.
but it's how the
Okay.
board feels.
Do we normally do a probationary period for a position like this?
Normally, when directors are hired because they're unclassified, we technically don't have a probationary period because if you're unsatisfied with the director's performance.
Yeah,
You-
they serve at the will. Mhm.
Because they're at-will employees.
What does the
But it's
probationary period signify?
During that time, you could actually evaluate, which is really part of my second part of my question. You could evaluate the person's performance to see how well they're performing in that position and offer them feedback. So during that phase, you could actually just have communication with that person, which in this case would be the deputy director of water resources. So you're
It
able
doesn't
to-
require a probationary period to have communication with
No,
the.
it doesn't. No, but it'd be informal. We could actually do an evaluation. Which would actually be part of my recommendation, because because with any other director, you have a performance evaluation done on your directors. So I would like to recommend that you perform evaluation on the interim director, and that we offer feedback formally and informally if you want to.
Janet, you were interim at once upon a time. How did we do it when you were interim?
It was, I think maybe that situation might have been different than this situation.
Oh, okay.
But no, I acted as the director day one of interim. I didn't have an evaluation period. It was kind of full blown, I was kind of thrown into that position.
So it's your recommendation that we do for this?
I think so, just so then, because I would like to structure and formalize the process, because we never really had a situation like this in the past. So moving forward, if there's any type of situation that happens like this, I would at least would like to have a plan in place. We now have a foundation for a transition plan, so anything down the road, I would like to just do this again, because then we have a plan in place.
Okay.
So that's just my recommendation, like the last part of the plan would be a probationary period. And during that phase, we would also evaluate her and offer her feedback. And you could also, you could be the board evaluating her if you want, which would probably be my recommendation, because you evaluate your other directors.
Okay.
And also possibly in conjunction with the water resources director, Jane Roberts, also evaluating the interim director. So it's really whatever the board wants us, I'm coming forward to you before we finalize the plan, just kind of close it up and have that be the last section of the plan. So it'd be either her 120-day probationary period, and then during that time, either evaluation, midpoint, and at the end of the probationary period, or just the end of the probationary period. That would be my recommendation. And that way she's offered feedback, and you can see how she's performing in that position. So it's whatever.
Okay.
So this is part of a plan that is being put in place that we're not voting on in any way, it's just giving you some guidance?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because that would be the last part of the plan. We're finalizing it, we're tweaking.
Okay.
Because I
things here and there on
assume
the plan.
when the actual employment decision got made, at that point, we would be making some type of formal determination about a probationary period. But right now, this is just informal
Right,
and how you're
Yeah.
working on your plan.
With the succession plan.
So are you
Yeah.
saying that period could be changed?
Well, no, I wasn't really sure what our decision point was. The decision point would still come at the time of the hire in the terms of the hire, and not the hire, the promotion.
Yeah, yeah.
Because should something happen during the probationary period, maybe, she might need some communication, maybe, I don't want to say performing poorly or anything, but just something should happen in that probation, and maybe it's decided at that point that the promotion would not take place, we would have a completely different conversation. Or if she successfully completes, then she would become the director, and again, that's the board's decision
Yeah.
at that time.
Okay.
So I will finalize the plan,
Okay.
adding a probationary period of 120 days,
Mhm.
and then also add the performance evaluation process to it.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Janet. Okay. Jean.
Thanks for being early.
Oh, I have to work that one. There's only one item for discussion, and this is the Brimfield Town Center expansion. It's carryover of old mapping, where we drew a line on a map, not looking at parcels. And it only makes sense, given that the property owner's vast majority of the land mass is in the Aqua, Ohio area. And to be 100% clear, we actually sell water to Aqua, Ohio.
Exactly.
Our net loss by not having the direct customers from one building is about 1,400. The flip side is, though, is about a 6,000% increase in property tax. So getting this project moving at the most cost-effective method for the property owner is, to me, what makes the most sense. So that's our recommendation. What we would do is come back with a change in the total map. It's not much different than what we did up in the village of Manaway, where we drew the map to represent the parcel lines, not to represent an imaginary line going through the field. So
And just to clarify, Brookfield is actually serviced by multiple water suppliers besides Aqua. There's other ones.
there's
that-
private wells, Aqua, and Portage County.
Okay.
It's-
Because there used to be an American.
That is now Aqua.
Aqua,
That is-
okay. Because I remember before there was like, it seemed like they had like 2 or 3 different
Mm,
suppliers.
and over time, Aqua. Ohio
Aqua
has
just
purchased
took
all of
over,
it.
okay.
Gene, what stage is the development of the project?
They're in what I would consider preliminary design.
Okay.
They're doing their due diligence based on what they come up with schematic design. So
In this kind of sense, it's looking like it's going forward.
we can provide water, or they can provide water, but it makes sense from our perspective that they provide it because it's one customer.
And they
Okay.
buy it from us anyways, so.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, we'll be back with the map changes. We've got to sit down with Aqua Ohio and agree on what that.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got Kelly Jo at 10, or we're gonna recess?
Could you see if she could come up?
We're looking at 2 executive session.
Hi, it's Amy at the Commissioner. Hello, is who happen to be available to come see the board? Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Did she come?
She's gonna go find her. She's got.
Oh, you didn't talk to her, okay.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, we'll recess till she gets up here.
So you're adapting to this nasty weather again after being in Hawaii?
Yeah, it's a little different, right?
How long were you over there?
Only like 4 or 5 months. Yeah. But it was the end of April, or, March end of March, so it's still cold in March, April. Yeah, so I missed all that last year.
Everybody's able to come,
Okay.
Okay, good.
less than 5 minutes.
Nice.
Good morning.
Morning. Hello, John.
Hello.
Thanks for coming up early.
Sure.
I'll be ready.
Oh, you're cute. I love it.
I got him that shirt.
Did you?
Put it on Amazon, and then we just have the wording put on it.
That is good.
Are you in an executive session to
Yes.
So I'll move to go into.
We'll come out of recess.
Recess?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll move to go into executive session for G1 to consider the compensation of a public employee.
I will second.
Roll call in.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Vicki?
Yes.
And Janet?
She can come,
I don't need to
once a week. Yeah, she can come.
How are you? How are things up in Freedom?
Same old, same old.
Yeah.